The morning light crawled through the narrow window of the laundromat. Miguel wiped the fog from the glass and started the old washing machine. The hum of its engine was his alarm clock, his rhythm, his life. He sorted clothes one by one, careful not to mix the customers' laundry. Outside, people passed by with coffee cups and clean shirts, heading to offices. Miguel watched them through the glass, feeling the weight of distance between him and their world. He never complained. He worked quietly, saving every dollar to send home to his parents in Mexico. During lunch, he sat by the dryer, eating bread and checking his phone. His father's voice message played again. "Stay honest, my son. Don't hide from life." Miguel smiled faintly. "I promise, Papa." That night, he went to his second job at the restaurant. Washing dishes until midnight. Steam rose from the sink, covering his tired face. "Good job, Miguel," the chef said cheerfully. Miguel nodded. "Thank you, sir." He didn't mention that his name wasn't even on the payroll. When he left, a police car passed by. His heart skipped. He pressed his expired visa tighter inside his wallet. Freedom felt close but still out of reach. The street outside the laundromat was busier than usual. A sharp sound, metal crashing, glass shattering, echoed through the air. Miguel ran out and saw a man pinned inside his car. Without thinking, he pulled the man out, pressing his hands against the bleeding wound. "Someone call 911. He shouted. Minutes later, the sirens arrived. Miguel gave his name honestly to the police, even though his hands were shaking. "Miguel Rosas," he said. The officer nodded, took notes, and asked for identification. Miguel hesitated, then handed over his expired visa. The officer's smile faded slightly, though he said nothing harsh. That night, Miguel's boss pulled him aside. There might be trouble. Maybe stay home for a while. Miguel only nodded, feeling cold despite the warm air. He washed the bloodstains from his hands, but the fear stayed. In that moment, he wondered if honesty was a gift or a risk. The waiting room of the legal aid office was quiet. Miguel sat stiffly, holding an envelope of documents. When his name was called, attorney Alice Morgan greeted him with a steady smile. She read through the report and asked about the accident. "I didn't run," Miguel said. "I only wanted to help." Alice nodded. "That matters." She collected evidence: his pay stubs, tax slips, volunteer records from the church. Then she contacted witnesses from the laundromat and restaurant. Miguel followed her advice, attending every meeting and signing every paper carefully. At night, he prayed, "Let truth protect me." Alice worked late, drafting a petition for a hearing. For the first time in years, Miguel felt he wasn't completely alone. The immigration office was filled with murmurs and the clicking of pens. Miguel sat in a stiff chair, clutching a folder that contained every proof of his life in America. The clock ticked loudly, echoing in his chest. When Officer John Hamilton called his name, Miguel stood, his knees slightly trembling. Inside the hearing room, everything smelled of paper and coffee. John looked at him across the desk. "How did you enter the country?" he asked. Miguel hesitated, then answered quietly, "I crossed when I was 15. My parents needed me to work." John wrote something down without expression. "And why didn't you leave the accident scene?" Miguel lifted his head. "Because he was bleeding. I couldn't walk away." Behind him sat witnesses: Lisa from the laundromat, the restaurant chef, and the man he had saved. Their eyes carried faith, not pity. Attorney Alice stood beside him, her hands calm on the table. She spoke clearly about Miguel's taxes, his clean record, his choice to help instead of hide. John said nothing, flipping through the documents. Miguel could hear his own heartbeat louder than the paper turning. After 40 minutes, John closed the folder. "You'll receive a decision by mail," he said evenly. Miguel nodded and rose to his feet. As he left, the hallway seemed endless: bright lights, distant voices, and the taste of fear mixed with hope. For the first time, he didn't feel invisible anymore. He had spoken his truth out loud. A week passed like a slow tide. Miguel went back to the laundromat, helping from behind the machines where no one could see him. Lisa visited during her break, placing a sandwich on his table. "Still waiting?" she asked softly. Miguel nodded. "Every morning I check the mailbox." At night, Alice called with updates. "They're still reviewing your file," she said. Miguel smiled faintly. That means they didn't say no yet. One afternoon, as he walked home, a familiar voice called his name. It was the man from the accident, holding a letter. "My family wanted you to have this," he said. Inside was a photo, his wife, his daughter, and him smiling. The note read, "You didn't save my life. You gave it back to me." Miguel held the photo tightly, the edges warm from his hands. He returned to Alice's office. "Even if they deny it, I won't run," he said firmly. Alice looked at him with quiet pride. "That's what courage looks like." Days later, a letter arrived, official, thick, and stamped. Miguel tore it open with shaking hands. His eyes widened. He was approved for special review, a path to citizenship. He fell to his knees and whispered, "Gracias, Dios." Spring sunlight warmed the small auto shop. A new sign hung proudly above the door, Miguel's honest hands. The smell of oil mixed with fresh paint. As Miguel tightened the last bolt on an engine, Lisa entered, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Your first day as a business owner," she said with a grin. Miguel chuckled. "Feels unreal." Customers trickled in, neighbors, delivery drivers, people from church. Miguel greeted each with a handshake and genuine smile. Alice arrived later, holding a small envelope. "It's official," she said. Inside was his citizenship certificate. Miguel's eyes glistened as he traced his name printed in bold letters. He took a deep breath, whispering, "Now I belong." That evening, he raised 2 flags above the shop. The American and Mexican flags, side by side. They fluttered together in the golden light. Children passing by waved and called out, "Hey, honest hands." Miguel laughed, waving back with his grease-stained glove. As the sun dipped below the rooftops, he looked up at the sky. The same stars that once guided him across the border now felt like home. He smiled quietly, whispering, "Dreams don't need papers, only truth."